So anyway, really quick, I did want to go into one thing really quick, but we are going to move it on. I think it was you were saying something about, I don't know precisely how you worded it. Andrew brought it up, something about how what's a way in which men don't have rights over their body?
Asking what government policies
Is there any law
would govern.
that prevents you from doing something you want with your own body?
So I actually have two that kind of relate to bodily autonomy. But it was posed by you or by
Me.
who? It was by her.
Both of us.
Yeah.
Okay, and
She
that's a
brought it up,
question.
and then I said Kamala asked that identical question.
And is that's a question that you have?
Yeah, I can't think of a single body or
Well,
single law
circumcision
that
would
would
be
prevent
one.
you from doing what you want
So-
with your body.
Circumcision, but you actually feel.
So hold on.
I feel
But so
passionately
is
that
it
circumcision should be a choice
your
as well.
position that there is no way that a man lacks bodily autonomy?
I think if you wanted to do literally anything you want with your body, I don't think anyone in the government's stopping you. And if you can name one thing,
Interesting.
let me know, because
I'll give
I
you
would
two.
love to learn.
Yeah,
I
you
can't think
can't-
of anything.
you
No,
can't
there's
commit
no
No
suicide.
one's
one's
forcing you
Right.
guys
So-
to get vasectomies.
Hold on.
The only thing I
hold
can
on.
think of is as an infant you
Yep.
being circumcised, and that is something I
so-
wholheartedly
You
am
can't
against as
unalive
well.
yourself either.
You
Hold
can't.
on.
You
That's
can't what?
illegal for
You
everyone.
can't unalive
Well,
yourself.
okay, hold on.
I mean, but you can. You're not going to jail for it. You'll be dead.
Yeah, but it's hang on. But it's the
You still
question.
can.
The question that you asked wasn't whether you could do something.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
No,
like,
no.
actually
That's
doing
not what
it.
you're asking, because what you're actually
The
asking
government's
is,
not going to stop you from killing yourself.
okay, you
That's the
gotta
question.
not cut me off every time I try to talk.
Okay.
So, no. The question which you asked was, can you name a law which governs men's bodies that because that's what's happening to women. There's a law governing their bodies. Yes. There's a law that says you cannot unalive
A
yourself.
law
You're not-
strictly pertaining
Yes,
to men,
you're
though.
not allowed to do that. So that would be a law.
So when it comes, I mean, while it is not by law a requirement that children are circumcised, feminists constantly make arguments about, while there isn't a law, there's a societal culture that mistreats women in this way or privileges men in this way. So I think circumcision is actually a fantastic argument when it specifically comes to bodily autonomy as it relates to men. Secondly, there actually is one. So forced military conscription. So all men in the United States, compelled by law, are required to register with a selective service, which in the event of a war would compel them to essentially be cannon fodder in a military conflict. Secondly, even if there wasn't a military conflict, if a man fails under law to register for the selective service, there are significant ramifications to this. For example, they can't vote. They can't. They are not allowed to have certain federal jobs, federal careers. They can't get student
They can be
loans.
imprisoned and fined.
There's it's a felony, $250,000 fine. There's some other potential ramifications.
And women are not subject to that, by the way.
And you know what? You know what? I really appreciate you bringing that point up, because this is where the point really lies here is you're 100% correct. And the difference between you and I is that I would fight till the end for that to not be the case for you guys, but you guys would not fight for me. Clearly.
Well, hold on.
I would fight till the end to make sure
So-
that's not, because I completely disagree with
No
that
one
for
has
men.
to
Men
die,
should not
no.
have to be forced.
Hold on.
I completely agree.
Wait. So
I'll fight till the end for you in
That's
that
great.
regard.
So first
Like,
off, you.
Men would protect you.
I
They would.
That's
So you
kind
haven't-
of shifting the goalpost, though,
Yeah.
right?
First off, you haven't.
I don't need men to protect me. I've protected myself. this
Actually,
whole
you
time.
do need men to protect you.
Really?
Whether-
From who? Other men? Because
How is
I
that?
can't tell you
So
how
you
many
still need
times
men
I've
to protect
protected
you? So you
still
myself.
need men to
You
protect
still
you.
You need them to protect
I
you.
don't
through-
need you guys to protect
Can
me.
you stop interrupting? You got to allow people to actually.
Yeah,
why-
I'm done.
You need to allow people to actually speak instead of just constantly interrupting them. It's
Okay.
very simple. We let you talk. Okay. So, two things. First, you absolutely do need men to protect you. This may be by proxy, either through the military or through law enforcement officers. I'm assuming if somebody you know were to be murdered, you would not just protect yourself, you would not investigate it yourself, you would appeal to who? Primarily men who are in law enforcement. I'm assuming, unless you just if someone you know who got murdered, you'd hope it wasn't investigated?
I would appeal to law enforcement as a whole, not to specifically
Which
men
is
in law enforcement.
which is
and to be quite
predominantly
honest with
men.
you, if I mean, I don't personally own a gun. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. I don't really feel strongly either way at this moment in time about it. But I can tell you, if I need protection, if I own a gun, I don't need your muscles. I'm actually, I can handle
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
I don't need.
Are you in
I just
favor
need.
of-
Here's
are you
the
in
thing.
fa-
I need tools. I don't need men. I need tools, and men hoard all the tools and resources. So I have to ask you guys for those
Okay,
tools.
so
I
hold
just
on,
want the tools
hold on,
myself.
hold on.
I can use them
Hold
myself.
on.
I know how to use them.
Okay.
Men are stopping women from building guns?
No, that's
was
not
gonna
what I
say.
said. Like you're taking it literally because you can't look at the bigger picture. I'm saying that like I have always been in a position in every job I've been in, school, everywhere, is that there's a man who's in power over me that I have to go to get better. I have to go to get the promotion. I have to go to convince
Okay,
to write
no,
me
no, no,
whatever.
no, hold on.
If
Hold
I
on.
have the tools
Stop.
myself,
You need
I
to
don't
stop
need you
because
because
now
I have to
you're-
ask you for them.
You need to stop because
I know how to use them
you're
myself.
not allowing me to go point by point on this. Now you're talking about promotions and stuff. Let's go back to the draft. So you made two claims there. You made the claim that, well, if I was in your position, I would advocate that men not be drafted. So let's talk about that. Okay. So I know you live in like fairy tale land where in your world, military conflict would never exist, even if women hold.
Fairy tale.
Even if.
not-
Hold
I
on,
don't
hold
live
on.
in that
Let me
world.
finish. Let me finish. In the same way, you're strong. Okay. In your fairy tale world, even if women had all the power, held all positions of power, perhaps you think that there would not be any military conflicts. I think this is wrong. There would still be military conflicts regardless. So you're saying that you would advocate that there should be no draft period.
Yes,
or
what
no?
I'm advocating for, because you're right, in anyone's idyllic world, who wants war?
Okay.
No one wants
So
war.
is
So in
there
my idyllic
war?
world,
Is
there
there war?
wouldn't be war, sure, but I know war is a necessity. I'm very aware of that. I'm not saying that
Okay,
we can't
but
survive
so-
without war, but I'm saying that the people who participate in that war should be able to choose whether they're men or women.
But-
That's it. If
so
I have
if
a
I were
son,
to tell
I don't
you-
want to know that he's going to be taken against his own will. Like, I feel strongly about protecting my sons equally as my daughters.
But if I were to tell you, it would it's almost a waste of time to have a conversation of trying to get rid of the draft because the government will never relinquish
Yeah.
its ability to call upon its citizenry
Right.
in a situation or scenario where the country needs to essentially force its citizenry into the defense of the nation. The government, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, will never relinquish this power.
Yeah.
So assuming that, you can agree that there's no scenario where the draft will never exist.
You're
That's a
right. In the
problem with the
society that
government.
we've built, that's what I'm saying is a lot of shit in the society needs to be
War-
dismantled,
okay.
dude, because
But
it doesn't,
war's never going away.
doesn't work.
War
this
and
is not the
conflict.
only way that we can work. There's many
war and
different ways.
conflict is never going to go away.
You're right, it's not, but there's different ways to go about it, is my point. And do I have all the answers? No.
Okay,
but is
but
the way
so-
we're doing it currently
so-
satisfying everyone? No. We need to do something different. That's what I'm saying. We need, and that's what is the issue here is I love this country and I want to make it better. I'm not talking about this country. I'm saying there's flaws with it and I want to help improve it.
Okay, but so you're saying I would advocate for you guys, but you guys won't advocate for me. So again, I'll say it again. There's no scenario where the government is going to relinquish their right to draft the citizenry. So then, wouldn't you agree that perhaps in this situation, women should also be subject to
Yes,
military
that's
conscription?
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
It needs to be equal
It would
either
be
way.
fair.
Right.
Either everyone
It's
gets
like
to
in
choose or no
Israel.
one gets to choose.
So-
That's what I'm
But in
saying.
any
Would it
case,
suck? Yes,
so
but it would be
But
fair.
despite 100 years of equality when it comes to voting, women still are not obliged to be subject to military conscription. And so, because of this, that is precisely one example in which men don't have bodily autonomy. So you're not actually addressing my argument here. You're just saying, well, I would advocate that men should not be drafted. But I'm telling you currently, as a rebuttal to your point of men don't have bodily autonomy, it's actually quite the opposite.
What about, we know mental health sucks in this country for everyone, men, women, children, doesn't matter who you are. But when the military does drafts, I know they don't take people with bipolar, BPD, all these other mental illnesses. So if we're going to like compare the two between abortion rights and being drafted for the military, what about women who have severe mental deficits, who struggle to live day to day, who necessarily in the drafts wouldn't be drafted but are still forced to carry a child that they mentally or physically are incapable of caring for completely?
I'm not sure I entirely follow. I mean, I would assume that if you have some severe mental incapacity, whether you're a man or a woman, this would preclude you from volunteer service and a draft.
Yeah,
Even in
so that they're protected in that sense. But I mean, women, when it comes to abortion rights, right? People who suffer from bipolar, all these mental illnesses that make it not only hard to function as like a day-to-day person, but as a full parent who is responsible for another living being. Why would they be forced to carry that child to term if they found out they were
I see what you're
pregnant
saying.
later in life?
So just to summarize this, make sure I'm not strawmanning this. What you're saying is, yes, okay, this is true. Men lose their autonomy this way, and women lose their autonomy this way. But the exemptions that men get is that if they have mental health issues, they don't have to go into military service. But women, if they have mental health issues, would still have to bear the child.
Yes.
So this is not fair, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Now at least I understand. So that I do have this down correctly, right? Okay, so what I would say to this is, okay, fair enough, but you do realize that draft standards, how they're set, are actually designed to be lowered instantly by necessity.
Yeah,
Meaning
I'm
that-
sure if they
yeah, meaning
need
that if there's
soldiers,
a-
they're
yeah,
gonna
if there's
be
a
like,
war-
oh, he's a little f***ed up.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
okay,
little
we'll
f***ed up.
take him anyways.
In fact, they will lower the IQ standards significantly.
Yeah.
Right? They'll lower all
They just
standards
need
across the board.
bodies.
Yeah, they just need bodies. And so now your BPD, this and that. Oh, you got some medication that'll help you with that? Get your to the front line. So essentially, these things will be removed via necessity. So it's not a disqualifier from you getting drafted,
not
even with mental
completely.
illness.
Like in a perfect world, yeah, but not completely. But they don't have that standard for pregnant women.
I do. I mean, I have really quickly one thing on this, and I'll pass it back to Andrew. So when it comes to the draft, you'd be forced to do that by the government. The government isn't forcing you to have sex.
No, but sex is a natural and healthy thing. No one's
So-
forcing you.
Yeah.
No one's forcing you, but
There is a bit of a
life.
differentiation
It
there. I mean,
happens.
that's all my piece.
it's human nature. I feel like on the topic of sex, I feel like people have made sex such a taboo subject when all that matters is communication and consent. And if everyone's behaving and having sex in a healthy way, everyone's getting tested properly, they're communicating what they have, if they have anything, what partners they've had. I don't feel like sex is something
I'm
that
not
people
sure.
should be ashamed of.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how sex being natural negates the fact that it's a choice, whereas conscription would not be. And pregnancy usually is an entailment of choice. So women who carry pregnancies via SAs, for instance, those are outliers. Those are rare, right? Most pregnancies
It
are not.
happen-
It
it-
does.
I
Listen,
won't
I'm
say
not
it's not-
disputing it.
yeah.
I'm just saying that that's not the vast, overwhelming majority, not even close. So taking this into consideration, even if they were to make the SA exemption, oh, you were SA'd? Fine, then you can have the abortion. And those exemptions do exist. The exemption on the draft, there's still no choice. Whereas the sex is a choice, which leads to the pregnancy.
Well, I think the problem isn't
Final thing,
the
and I'll
people.
move it on.
I think the problem isn't the people, it's the government who wants to tell us what to do. You have to go in the draft. I have to have this baby. I think that in itself is what's wrong, not the fact that, oh, men have these privileges and men have this and that. The government set that up, not each individual person. We are merely here existing in this country based off what we've been taught and told and learned through thousands of years
yeah,
of
but you have a
translated
representative
scripts.
government, so they're representing the will of you. Isn't that what the point is?
But are they really representing every single person in this country?
Well, I mean, but that would be in the realm of impossibility, regardless of the government archetype you
That's why I feel every person should have the right to choose what they want to do with their person. Obviously, wrong. You can't do something else, something to someone else that's, them not respecting boundaries, consent, all this shit.
Do you mind if I test this logic real quick?
Yeah.
So you have kids. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if, your kid is an adult. When they reach an adult stage, they should be able to do what they want, right?
Pertaining to themselves, yes.
Pertaining to themselves. So your kid runs into your room, pulls out a heater, puts it up to their head and says, "This is it, Mom. I'm doing it, and I'm an adult." Are you going to let her?
I mean, at that point, that's someone you would need to get help for.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think
Wait,
any
hang on.
logical,
Back up.
normal person, any logical person
Why
who
couldn't they?
isn't going through something,
Yeah.
that goes back to mental health. Mental health is
Wait a second. So not everybody should have the right to do whatever they want then.
he has the right.
Yeah,
Is
so
it
then why would you try to stop them?
because I love them?
Right. So your love for them, you would interject and take that right away from them, right? Out of love for them?
I would offer them help.
Yeah, okay. You would offer them help by not letting them do that first. You would do whatever you could so that they put the heater down and didn't do it right then, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Christians are trying to do for you.